afternoon. Dan Del Campo, your host, and of course, continuing with the right guest for the right audience here on KPRL, The Right Choice. Question, I asked it yesterday. Have you ever been issued a traffic ticket? Well, most of us have and had to deal with that traffic ticket. And sometimes it's not a pleasant experience. And of course, then there is the money part of the traffic ticket. Well, my first guest today is Steve Miller, president and founder of TicketBust.com. Steve has been fighting traffic tickets for over 10 years. And Steve practically invented this industry, starting with TicketBust in 2004 with one goal in mind: to help drivers contest and dismiss their traffic tickets quickly, easily, and inexpensively. You can link to, and his book is GetDismissed.com. You link to it right off of our fan Facebook page and a website, and take a look at what's going on. Now, interestingly enough, we were talking about technology the other day. There's actually an app for this. But welcome, Steve. Good afternoon. Thanks for being here today.
Hi, Dan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just great. Before we get started, as I was saying, and you heard, most of us, somewhere along the line, have been issued a traffic ticket. And in many cases, people are always looking for ways to get out of them. I found some unique people that have said some rather strange things about how to get out of a traffic ticket, which really is not the right way. But take a listen.
Have you ever done anything to get out of a speeding ticket?
No, I'm an excellent driver.
Excellent driver.
Yes, I have.
Sometimes, yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yes, I have.
No. And no.
What'd you do?
I freestyle.
I fake cried one time.
I know I'm just speeding, but don't give me this ticket. Run from the cops.
You ran from the cops.
Yes.
Did you get away?
Yes.
You did? All right. Well, then hopefully they don't see this video, right?
I cried.
I tried to take off my shirt to show my wife beater, so I was kind of cut. With a female cop.
It was a female cop?
It didn't work.
She wasn't buying it?
Nah, it wasn't work. She was kind of old.
I don't think, Steve, you would condone any of these excuses for getting out of a traffic ticket, would you?
No, that's really not the best way to get out of a ticket. There's much better ways to just legally dispute and contest and get your ticket dismissed in California.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the book. What prompted you, going back, say, in 2004, what prompted you? Were you a victim of tickets to start this process?
Well, no. Actually, my brother was, and he turned over his traffic ticket and looked at the back of the traffic ticket, and there were about 4 options to dealing with a traffic ticket. You can always go to court. Everybody knows about that. That's one way to contest a ticket, although officers show up in court, and it's rare that a ticket is dismissed in court because the officers just have a lot more credibility than an individual going in. Another way to contest a ticket or to get it dismissed or off your record is traffic school. That's also on the back of it. The other option is just to pay the ticket, let the point go on your record. And the final option is what's called a trial by written declaration. And a trial by written declaration is actually the best way in California to contest a ticket without going to court. And it's one of your options. It's been around since 1978. And one of your options in California to contest a ticket in writing, where you put together your defense and your arguments and document it on a California trial by declaration, and you send it into the court to contest that ticket. And back in 2004, we started a service to help people doing that, and the outgrowth of that, 11 years later, is what we have now, which is our new company, GetDismissed.com, GetDismissed.com, which is a automated way to prepare and develop and document the trial by declaration documents to submit to the court. And in conjunction with that, we came out with our Get Dismissed book.
If someone were going to be using the trial by written declaration, how many people are actually capable of writing out something without going to court that is really going to be in their best defense? I would think that your service is going to better help them submit that kind of declaration.
Absolutely. You can relate it to this, and I'll tell you a little about it. If a pipe breaks in your house, you going to call a plumber or are you going to do it yourself? Well, some people can you Mickey Mouse it and repair a pipe, and other people, most people will just call a plumber to have it done right. The same thing with a trial by declaration. Most people do not know what to say, and actually more importantly than knowing what to say is actually knowing what not to say, because everybody incriminates themselves by saying the wrong thing. They say things like, you know, he wrote me up for 70 miles an hour, but I was, you know, only going 69 miles an hour. Well, you still were speeding, so that's still a valid ticket. And people say the dumbest things and incriminate themselves, and that's where our service, GetDismissed.com and the GetDismissed app, helps people through a series of questions to formulate that defense in a proper format to maximize your chances of getting that dismissed.
The officers that issue the tickets, they're well schooled. They understand the system, and that's why when they come up to the window, they always ask you, "Do you know how fast you were going?" And it's always amazing how many people actually admit to going faster than the speed limit.
Exactly, and we always tell people, basically, do not say a thing. If they ask you, you know, how fast you were going, you can say, "I was going at a safe and reasonable speed." You know, you never want to give an officer information, because what the officer does, by the way, is they take notes, and they write those notes down on the back of their copy of the ticket, and they have that in case they have to go to a court or in case they have to respond to a trial by declaration. So if you argue with an officer or if you give them any type of reason to think you might be contesting that ticket, they're taking their notes, so they're prepared. And your best way to deal with getting pulled over is not to make any excuse, to not say anything to incriminate yourself. Just accept and sign the ticket and go on your way, and then deal with it after the fact.
Would you ever advise, Steve, to maybe try and negotiate with the officer who's going to issue the ticket to perhaps not issue the ticket?
Personally, I would say no. However, people do try to negotiate with the officer. More than not, it doesn't work. Some people have, you know, wiggled their way out of a traffic ticket at times. I think the odds are stacked against you, and I think it's best not to negotiate. The officer's there. He's 9 times out of 10 going to write the ticket no matter what you say. So if there was a true emergency, maybe that might be a reason for it. Other than that, I would not say a word. Now,
in the case of submitting this declaration, is it the judge that reads the written declaration?
Yes. Here's how the process works. So first, you put together your trial by declaration, and again, it's been around since 1978. It's nothing new. It's a right of every driver in California to contest a ticket using the declaration. And by the way, we could talk about this more in a bit, but I believe that the California courts actually like when you do a declaration versus coming to the court, because it costs the court time and money if you do show up in court. But anyway, when filling out the declaration, it's submitted to the court. The court then sends it to the officer. The officer has to respond in writing to the court. Then the judge sees both copies, and the judge looks at both sides and renders his decision, just like if you were to walk into court. Now, the advantage of this is that, number one, you can get this all formulated exactly how you want to put this together beforehand, so you're not stumbling over yourself as most people do in court when confronted with an officer who's accusing you or alleging you sped or went through a light or whatever it might be. This way the facts are put together properly. And so the judge reviews that and renders his decision guilty or dismissed. And if it's dismissed, no points on the record, it's like it never happened, the bail's returned to you, you go on your way and drive safely. If it's not dismissed, and here's one of the true advantages of a declaration, if it is not dismissed, it puts you right back where you started, and you're able to still have your day in court and or go to traffic school. So the reality of the situation is, why waste your time in court? Why waste time at traffic school before you have to? If you can get it dismissed on a declaration, great. You just saved yourself time and money. If not, you still have all your options open to you. So it's the best way to try to get your ticket dismissed prior to exercising any of your other rights.
And that is always the end goal of getting dismissed, is to not be found guilty of the traffic citation that you were issued, because in many cases the fine is very big, the cost of traffic school is sometimes significant, and not only that, if a point goes on your record, then you're dealing with the cost of insurance increases, aren't we?
Absolutely. If that point goes on your record, the insurance industry has estimated that a ticket on your record over the lifespan of that ticket, let's just say it's a 1-point violation, it's on your record for 3 years, can cost you, including the fine and or traffic school, plus the increases in insurance rates, up to $3,000 over the span of that ticket. That's a lot of money.
It certainly is, and in many cases, some traffic tickets are extremely expensive. I was watching one YouTube video where they were catching people going past school buses that had the red lights flashing.
Oh yeah,
and that ticket is upwards of $700 just on the ticket alone.
Absolutely, you're looking at in the high sixes for one of those traffic tickets, or a more ordinary ticket like running a red light. Those red light cameras, they're approximately $500, for that. And speeding tickets, can be anywhere between the high 2, low 3s all the way up to $500-600. So you take that, and let's say it goes on your record, or you want to even take traffic school. You add in the cost of the court fee for traffic school, add in the cost of the traffic school itself and the certificate, and you're spending, on a $500 ticket up to $600-700.
It gets rather expensive, doesn't it, for just a small infraction that you could have avoided by perhaps driving a little more safely. In the case of where we're at today in technology, the video camera is ever intrusive, including body cams on officers, squad cams, not to mention people having their own cameras on site. At any time when you are defending yourself in a traffic ticket, can you use the video for defense if you feel that it represents your best interest?
Absolutely, but in that case, you're going to have to go to court to deal with that, because you can't submit that with a trial by declaration, because that's all in writing. You can submit pictures. So if there's a picture on that video that you can grab a frame of and print out, you can certainly add that to your trial by written declaration, but you can't send in a full video.
We're visiting with Steve Miller. The book is Get Dismissed. The website is GetDismissed.com. You can link to it right off of our website and fan Facebook page. Steve, you actually have online an app for this, don't you?
Absolutely, and that's, again, our service at GetDismissed.com in the book. The app is for an iPhone or an Android phone. It can be found on the App Store or the Play Store. The app is simply titled Get Dismissed, one word, and the app automates and simplifies the process, a very complicated process, actually, of completing and submitting a trial by declaration to contest that ticket. And it works very simply by taking a picture of the traffic ticket, taking a picture of your driver's license. That information is gathered and read by the application, and then you verify that to make sure it captured it right, of course. Then you answer a few questions based upon the type of ticket you have, select the courthouse and a few other options. It gets submitted into our system, and within a couple days, your documents are generated for you. You log in, print them out, sign them, and submit them to the court to contest that ticket.
Now, there's a fee for using the app for the submission of this, isn't there?
Yeah, the app actually is free. It doesn't cost anything to download the app, Get Dismissed. However, to use the service, there is a cost for generating the trial by declaration documents. The fee is $79 per traffic ticket.
That seems like a fair amount to have some expertise guidance in the direction you need to go.
Yeah, we wanted to set the price at a fair fee that would make it simple and cost effective for people to attempt to contest their traffic tickets and get it dismissed. Now, there's other services out there that charge $200-300 for this, but at $79, we wanted to make it so easy, so simple, that it's sort of a why not at least try to get this dismissed.
In the case of Get Dismissed, people using this service, Steve, what is the success rate of getting dismissed?
Well, the success rate varies depending upon court, the type of ticket, the judge, and judges every year or two in some counties are replaced. So it varies, and there isn't a particular statistic or percentage that we can release on that, but from what we're told from people, that it's way higher than, let's say, a 60-65% chance. So it seems like it's well worth the fee to try to get that dismissed. And again, if it's not, you're right back where you started, and you can always go to court and or take traffic school.
Yeah, are there some differences, Steve, between law enforcement agencies? Are the CHP harder to get dismissed than, let's say, the local police departments?
That's a good question. We don't have any statistics that differentiate between the two. We do know there are some courthouses that are very busy that we have found you have a much higher chance of getting a ticket dismissed. For instance, Chatsworth Court, you have a very good chance. Van Nuys, LA Metro, there's San Diego isn't bad. Up north, there's some other courthouses that are fairly busy ones. Sacramento, San Francisco ones that you have a higher percent chance. And the reason for that is they're so busy. Some of the smaller courthouses that don't have the quantity of traffic tickets flowing through, those are sometimes a little more difficult. We get several tickets from Mammoth, in the Mammoth courthouse out that way, people going back and forth during ski season. And that court is a little more trickier to get tickets dismissed. However, Barstow Court, people going back and forth, to Nevada and California, that one seems to be a little easier one to get tickets dismissed in. So it all depends on the type of court, not necessarily sheriff or police.
You're not suggesting that in some cases the courts want to keep the revenue?
Well, no, I'm not suggesting that at all. What I am suggesting, though, and here's something that I mentioned earlier, is that courts appreciate doing a trial by declaration. It saves them money. If somebody walks into a court, let's just say Chatsworth Courthouse, and they are so backed up, if you get a ticket today, it might be 3 to 5 months before your set court date because they're so busy. So if you walk into that court and you sit down with, 200 to 400 of your best friends there, and you actually go through the process, it will cost the court more money than the $300, $400, $500 fine than they're getting for you. So they don't want you in that court. They want you doing a trial by declaration. And in addition to that, police officers, they go to court because they're paid overtime to go to court. They do not get paid extra to reply to a trial by declaration. And sometimes police officers are not that well versed in responding to them because they don't like to do extra paperwork and may not do
Steve,
the best job.
hold that thought. We got to take one quick break, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back. Once again, visiting with Steve Miller. He is president and CEO and founder of GetDismissed.com. We're talking about the process of dealing with your traffic ticket. You got to get the book. It's on our website and Facebook page. Steve, two of the topics that I think are in play a lot. One, of course, is the red light camera. There's a lot of controversy over that. And then, of course, the cell phone ticket. And you asked the question about smartwatches at the same time. If we deal with red light camera tickets, because there is a record of it, are they more difficult, or is there the possibility of getting dismissed from that?
Oh, yeah. Red light camera tickets are actually, I don't want to say easy. They're not easy, but they're no harder than a speeding ticket because there's various different ways to go about contesting a red light camera ticket, whether the nose of your car crossed that line and triggered that camera or not. Was the contract that the city has with the camera company legal? Was it fair? Were the signs posted that they have to post when approaching a city that's enforced by red light cameras and on the actual street itself. There's different ways to look at those tickets other than just did you do it or didn't do it.
The cell phone. In fact, I was stopped one time for using, early on when the law went into effect that you're not supposed to use your cell phone. Fortunately, the officer was in a good mood, and he said that he was just going to give me a warning, but it was the clearest violation of a cell phone use he had seen to date, because it was absolutely glued to my ear. But Are law enforcement stopping cell phones or cell phone drivers specifically for that, or is it in addition? And are the smartwatches legal?
You know, that's a very good question, because what is happening now, the officers have changed the way they ticket for a cell phone, a smartphone, because a couple of years ago, maybe about 2 years ago, the law changed specifically regarding cell phones. And the key issue is, are you communicating with another person by voice or by text? So if you're sitting there texting somebody, okay, you're in violation of the law. If you're talking to somebody while holding that phone, you're in violation of the law. Now, forget about safety issues a second, because that's a whole different thing. But if you're on the internet and cruising the internet or looking up directions or doing anything else on your phone that is not involved in communicating with a person, that is actually legal to do currently. They have not specifically changed the law to say that's illegal, so that's currently legal. And it's also legal to activate or deactivate your voice-operated features of a phone. So if you have to pick up your phone to hit a button or to look up a phone number or to do something to enable or disable a voice-activated feature, that's all legal. Now, since those can be challenged in court and dismissed, the officers have changed how they ticket for those tickets, and they look at it as more of distracted driving or unsafe driving, and they issue a different violation code other than the violation code for a cell phone, and that's how they're sort of getting around that. Now, a cell phone ticket, people think, for the first ticket, $25, $30. Well, that's not correct either. They're actually $162, because every city, every county adds additional fees onto the base fee. A second cell phone ticket is up to $250 based on the fees. The only good thing about a cell phone ticket currently, no point is added to your record. It just costs you more for every cell phone ticket you receive. It's
an expensive call, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Something you want to avoid. Are speeding tickets, Steve, the most common ticket issued?
Yeah, speeding tickets are still the most common ticket out there, followed by those red light camera tickets, and then you have the cell phone and stop sign tickets, things like those.
Well, with the fact that traffic tickets in the state of California are the #2 revenue generator, the best thing to do is try to drive safely and avoid getting the ticket in the first place. But if you do, you've got to go and get the GetDismissed app, or go to the website, GetDismissed.com, so that you can follow some of these very, very competent ways of doing this. I certainly did not know about the written declaration, Steve, and that seems to me like a very good way to start out if you do have a traffic ticket. But, Steve, thanks so much for coming on the program today. A lot of great information. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Anytime.
Bye-bye. Well, interesting. I certainly did not know about the declaration. That is a great way to handle your traffic ticket. Well, coming up right after the news, Steve Frank from California Political News and Views. Governor Brown still letting fraud go in the welfare system. And then Kurt Bardella from D.C. will be talking about SCOTUS. Bad day for the ruling. Dan Del Campo, be back.